So we're standing in our new exhibition, Photographs of Lowry by Clive Arrowsmith, and you can see we're just setting things out roughly in the space. And these are all pictures that were forgotten about since they were taken in 1966. Clive was sent out on an assignment to photograph Lowry at home, and as we'll see from looking at some of the pictures, he not only photographed Lowry at home but also in all sorts of other places around Salford as well. So as well as pictures of Lowry himself, we've got some really lovely shots of Salford at the time, including this one with the sort of cobbles just rising up in the foreground and this lady with a pushchair just sort of heading out of the frame, and she's just turned and seen Clive taking the photograph and she's just caught for that instant. Because they're such big prints, when you're standing close to them they're quite grainy and the image kind of breaks up a bit, but as soon as you step back just a couple of paces everything becomes really clear and just really sort of rich tones on this one as well. It's a lovely image, and you'll see when we look at some of the pictures that are on display in our L.S Lowry the Artist galleries that, you know, Lowry was seeing these same scenes over the years. So, you know, these women with their pushchairs out doing the shopping, the cobbled streets, the kids playing on the street. It's all the same thing that Lowry saw, but this is sort of Clive's view of it. So one of the other nice things about this series of photographs by Clive is how relaxed Lowry seems sometimes in front of the camera, because he was used to being photographed and interviewed by this time. He was starting to become a bit of a household name by now. And I think just over the period of the weekend when Clive was shooting these photos, Lowry does seem to have rather taken to him and relaxed in front of the camera, as I say. And this one in front of the wall, you can see he's just been caught with that slightly sort of quizzical look off to one side, and he looks very comfortable and just sort of standing there, as I say, in a very relaxed fashion. It's a slightly more formal one on the side. One of the places that Clive took him to was Salford Museum and Art Gallery, and there are some shots of him in there in front of the paintings that you'll now see in the Lowry Collection here at the Lowry. And this is him looking rather more sombre in front of Portrait of Anne. And that, in a way, is more the sort of image that you're used to with Lowry. So these more relaxed ones, and some where he's obviously enjoying himself and smiling and laughing out in the back garden, for example, are really nice to see that side of Lowry in front of the camera. So Clive Arrowsmith was originally commissioned to take these photographs by Nova magazine, and the main brief really was to photograph Lowry at home, although he did end up photographing him in other places as well. And I think these are some of my favourite images in the exhibition, because there are other photographers who've maybe taken shots of Lowry in his workroom, or his studio basically, and sometimes in his living room where there were lots of paintings on the walls and sort of ornaments across the surfaces of the sort of cupboards and things like this. But I've never really seen such intimate photographs of other parts of his house before. The chap who came to interview Lowry for the article that went alongside these photographs originally was Barry Sturt Penrose. He was Nova's art critic, and he said himself that until Clive Arrowsmith had invited Lowry out into the back garden to have some photographs taken, Lowry didn't think anybody had set foot out there for about 3 years. So most of the photographs that exist of Lowry show him as an older man, because he was really becoming more of a public figure after he retired in 1952. So it's nice to look back at Lowry's self-portrait, painted when he was 37, and this is Lowry as a young man. Very down-to-earth picture. He's not portraying himself as a sort of romantic artist or anything like that, looking directly out of the canvas at us in his flat cap and his raincoat. And in fact, you know, he really wore that same style of raincoat throughout his life. And it's quite a sort of thoughtful, quiet portrait, and you can still see something of that artist's perception of himself, perhaps in some of Clive's photographs of him years later. And we see many different sides of Lowry in the range of photographs. The sort of more serious side, a slightly sort of defensive side. There was perhaps a kind of public persona that he projected in all these sort of photographs with other people and the articles that were written about him. But I do think that in Clive's photographs you get a very sort of personal side of Lowry and his environment and his own surroundings and his own home, and certainly see a very relaxed Lowry, really quite enjoying himself in front of the camera.